Namaste, I'm Manoj Joshi. I have been talking about the wellness aspects around how we can build a stronger immune system, how we can build a good mindset, how we can bring some positivity in this time of the global challenge that we all are facing. That today is the 22nd day, and we've been talking different aspects of our life and how these ancient secrets of yoga and Vedanta, meditation, breathing techniques, coupled with the modern management concepts of how to manage our mind, the positive psychology, and all the things with an intention that we can derive certain principles which can drive us towards the right path, not only individually but also collectively as a human race. Many times, many people have been thinking alike, like this is a global challenge, a global wake-up call for all of us to rethink about the way that we have been living. So let's dedicate today's talk to all the leaders who have also been exposed to a warlike situation. Sometimes unprecedented scenarios like this can catch them awkward. Sometimes the personal limitations that might come into when they have to take a decision for the sake of the world, for the sake of the country. So it's very difficult situations. Let's try to empathize with all the leaders and pray that they will get the right insight, they will overcome the personal limitations and embrace the global challenge as a real challenge and do whatever it takes to save lives. In America alone, the situation is becoming very difficult right now, very severe. More than 450,000 people have been affected and over 23,000 people have died. It's a very serious matter, friends. So let's try to pray for the wisdom of all our leaders to get awakened and take it as a spiritual challenge and see how smartly we can handle this by doing everything that is required to support the healthcare professionals, to do something so that as soon as possible we can come back to the workforce and do something unique. This is the challenge given to us. This is just the beginning of the bigger wars, bigger fights. So we must be prepared with a proper mindset, with a proper attitude, with all the tools and techniques the science and technology has given us so far. Let's try to use everything. And along with the technological advancement, we have also been given by the nature almost like a month or so. All over the world, people have been quarantined, they're staying at home, they're doing everything possible to overcome their personal problems and try to think together collectively through different online sessions. So it's a different experience for all of us. Let's face it, with calm mind, with a peaceful heart, and with a loving attitude, with a compassionate ground. So today, I would like to share some ideas about Karma Yoga. What is Karma Yoga and how we can apply the same concept of Karma Yoga into the current situation. So if we already appreciate the value of yoga, we all agree that yoga is not just a stretching technique that we do on a studio. Yoga has got a lot of offerings to our mind, to our intellect, to our life. There are so many concepts and philosophies. What is very popular called yogic psychology. Those are very powerful tools and techniques, concepts, management strategies that have been used by people all over the world through several centuries. So Karma Yoga is one of such concepts that we must learn about it and how we can integrate the principles of spirituality into every work that we do, so that we don't have to find a specific time to do yoga, rather making yoga as a part of everything that we do, integrated to all work we do. I've already talked about this concept called yoga rudha kuru karmani. That means being in the state of yoga, being in the state of unison with the higher self, being in the spirit of surrendering everything. Then only we should be able to do the yoga, do the job that is on our hand, so that we can expect the highest result possible. So that is the definition of karma yoga, but I will get more details into it. So if we understand the concept of yoga, it has got 4 paths. So yoga is not just physical benefit. Yoga offers the highest tools and techniques to evolve our consciousness and to merge the lower self to the higher self. So whatever way that you can think about your higher self, be in the form of a god or nature or the universe, planet, anything which is more powerful than us, which is basically behind everything that the whole world is running, the power behind it. What in our meditation for last 21 days we have been doing about prana shakti meditation. So that power of everything that you can think about. So how the lower part or the destination or the source can merge together, how the lower self will merge with the higher self. In yoga terms we call jivatma and paramatma. So how that atoms can be a part of the bigger object. So this is all about unison. So in order to experience the complete merger with a higher being, the yogis have doctrined 4 paths. The first one that takes us from ignorance to knowledge is the path of jnana yoga. The knowledge is called jnana. So the path of wisdom or path of yoga that we trade on to imbibe the best of the knowledge possible by reading the scriptures, meditating, introspecting, reflecting, debating, and all those different things we have to learn, we have to assimilate, we have to meditate upon those things to enhance our knowledge. So by proper knowledge, we can achieve that unison with the higher self. And that is primarily the path of jnana yoga, because knowledge is power. Lack of knowledge is lack of power. And especially in this knowledge economy, when we make everything out of our knowledge, about our mind power, we make money out of it. So it is very important to acquire the right knowledge. Yesterday I talked about what is the importance of an expert coaching. What is the importance of a guru who helps us to remove the doubts and ignorance and to give us the right knowledge, the right path, the right confidence, so that we become successful in our life. So that is jnana yoga, the path of knowledge to seek liberation from these sufferings of the world. The second one is about Raj Yoga, which helps us from a distracted mind to a focused mind. You see, if the mind is not focused on something, it's very difficult to achieve the desired results. We all know about that. So how do you get into that concentration, that power of mind, which can help you to achieve highest possible productivity and purity of your work? So that is the path of Raj Yoga or meditational path. So you meditate to sharpen your mind, to bring a higher degree of mental faculties, determination, focus, clarity. All those things are very important aspects of our life. The third path of yoga is about bhakti, about devotion, from coming from impurities to purity, coming from hatred to love, coming from rudeness, indifference to a compassionate attitude. So that involves the heart. So the path of knowledge, jnana yoga, the path of meditation, Raj Yoga, and the path of devotion, Bhakti Yoga. These are the 3 paths. And the fourth one is about Karma Yoga, which helps us to move from a selfish attitude to an unselfish motivation, from something that is really a body consciousness related work that we undertake, me centric world, to something like we, for us, for the nation, for the world, with an altruistic motivation. So if we do something with a higher meaning, with a higher purpose, with greater engagement, as I've already talked about, the happiness factor is PERMA. It becomes a factor of positive emotions, engagement, relationships, meaning, and achievements. So when you try to seek the highest quality of happiness, that also is in the same line of liberating ourselves from the sufferings of the world, which is same concept of uniting your lower self, impure self, to the higher self, which is more divine, more pure, more intelligent, more compassionate, and all within us only. We don't have to go out to a place different. You don't have to go out to a different time. So there is no concept of a time and space here. It's all about here and now. It's all about a transformation in our perspective, a transformation about our thinking pattern, a transformation about our mind. So how we understand the concept and integrate them into our life, and that automatically becomes a path of yoga. So with this knowledge, friends, yoga will not remain as a practice that you do for 1 hour on the mat. Yoga is actually the practice off the mat, what you do for the rest of the 23 hours in your day. And Swami Vivekananda, one of the great monks of India, he doctrined all those paths are required. But at any given point of time, you have to use the best of the tools and techniques from all the different paths. Sometimes you have to do Karma Yoga, sometimes you have to do Raj Yoga, sometimes you have to do the Bhakti Yoga, sometimes you have to do Jnana Yoga. So all combinations. So by whatever means, if we can blend our lower self to the higher self, or bring perfection and productivity to the work that we do, take it to the highest level possible, which is not only good, doing good for us individually, myself, my family members, my community, but also have a bigger meaning, which can give a path to the human generation, which can leave a footprint that can be followed for centuries in the future. And we all are capable of doing that. Even though we know that what is right and what is wrong, but there is still something in our mind which doesn't really let us do the right thing. I've already talked about the concept of Shreyas and Preyas in one of the talks, when the little boy Nachiketa, he went and interacted with the god of death. He found out that something which is pleasant and something which is good are two different paths. Something which is good for you may not be very pleasant, and something that is pleasant for your senses may not be good for your life, good for others. So you have to have that discriminatory knowledge, the discerning capability to distinguish what is real and what is unreal. So these concepts are very well explained in two terms in yoga. It's called pravritti and nivritti. So vritti is the modification of the mind, and pravritti means circling outward, and nivritti means circling inward. Something which is outward driven, like object oriented, something which is inward, subject oriented. Something that we try to run away from, something that we move towards. The best example that I would like to give is in the case of Mahabharata, the biggest epic war in the Indian system or Indian history or mythology. So the fight is happening or just about to happen between the brothers, 5 brothers, Pandavas, and their 100 cousins, Kauravas, on something which is more ethical. It was not a fight for just a family rivalry, but it was a fight for a greater cause, to establish the truth, to establish the righteousness, to establish the dignity of the women, to establish law and order in the world. So it was a crusade, it was a dharma yuddha, It was a fight for the right cause. So before the war about to break, Lord Krishna, who was an orchestrator of everything, who was the charioteer of Arjun, so he was a celebrity during that time. He was a spiritual personality. He had the power to negotiate with these two groups of people. So he tried many times to come to Duryodhana, who is the protagonist here. Duryodhana was very much attached to the materialistic world and doing everything that could appease his sense organs, to be like a proud king or a prince who was very selfish. Everything that he was thinking about is his life, his kingdom, and he was not concerned about other people, his brothers who were fighting for the right that he had. So Krishna comes and asks and explains to Duryodhana that what is right and what is wrong. And you know what Duryodhana replied? He said, Janami dharmam nacha me pravritti, janami adharmam nacha me nivritti. That means I know what is right, I know what is I should be doing it, but I don't have any attraction towards that. I don't have any motivation to do that. And I know what is undo things. I know what is adharma, what is the wrong thing, but I don't have any way to come out of that. So he is basically trapped in between. And that is the state of affairs with all of us. We know what is right, we know what is good, and we know what is wrong, and we know what is not so good, but still we go around to do something which can be difficult for us, can be dangerous for us. So pravritti is motivating towards, nivritti is refraining from. So even though we know the truth, even though we know what is right, but still because of different factors that creeps into our life, we are unable to take the right decision in the right time. So in order to get that right wisdom in the right knowledge, the karma yoga is the practical tool. Because just at the spot of the moment that you take a decision, what is good and what is pleasant for you, there is a small little window of opportunity. And if you can discipline your mind and make your mind more stable, probably you can overcome that cravings to do something which is not so good, and you can overcome that. The modern psychologists talk about any time that you have depressing thoughts, anytime you have panic attacks in your mind, just try to refrain from doing that for 2 minutes only. If you take out your mind from 2 minutes from the things that you're craving about, just by distracting yourself to something else, you will be attracted to the right thing. So the motivation to do the adharma or the wrong thing will be subdued, and the motivation to do the right thing will be enhanced or magnified. And that is the essence of karma yoga, is to how to know what is the real stuff, what is the real thing for me and the world, and how I can discipline my mind by practicing yoga, meditation, and constant remembrance of my goal. We have already talked about how the God positioning, how the GPS system works. So the GPS system works in 3 different levels. Like if you have something that you want to achieve in a tangible way, like reducing 10 pounds of weight, say for example, or identifying something, or making X amount of money in a couple of months' time. So if your tangible goal is there, it's identified as global positioning system. You go from one point to another point by following a particular system, what is there in our car. And if you follow that, it's impossible to get lost. But sometimes you have to chase something intangible, like happiness, the pursuit of happiness, or the pursuit of righteous knowledge. Those things is a long path. There is no definite point where you can say, I have achieved everything, I have become happy. Happiness is journey. So from the journey point of view, when you are trying to achieve something in an intangible way, I call that GPS the goal positioning system. And the third one, after you do everything, you do the global position system, achieve a lot of targets into your life, become more happier, achieve different goals of total health, true happiness, and building a stronger immune system, the goal that you have set. But after many, many years of practice, you can be in a position of making this GPS as a God positioning system. That means the God factor inside you will be so high, so strong, you don't have to really work. It becomes a mastery. That flow comes. The divinity flows through you, and you are the chosen one to do everything in the right way, or whatever you do becomes a path. In Sanskrit they call it Mahajano Jena Gatah Sapantha. That means the great people, the wise people, whatever path that they trade on, that becomes the path for the common man. So you become a trendsetter. You become a godlike quality person. But the quality is defined by your thoughts, by your words, and by your action. And that as if the whole purity is already coming from you. You are the definition of everything. So until we become the goal itself, like say for example, if there is a dancer, if she dances so well, at some point of time, the flow is so vivid inside her that the dance remains and the dancer is gone. It's a state. So that essence understanding that essence is very critical in adapting karma yoga as a strategy to liberate ourselves from the stress, worries, anxieties and sufferings of life, which is primarily a mental function. By changing the right perspective, by changing the right attitude, by integrating the essential aspects into your work ethics, you can achieve that in everything that we do. So if you understand the concept of karma yoga, you have to understand there is another aspect that the Vedanta talks about, like how you see the essential things in everything. Whatever in the objective world that you see, there is an inner truth to it. There is a deeper truth behind it. What appears at the face value sometimes is not the real thing. You have to go a little deeper. Like say for example, if you do a problem solving, whatever the problem, whatever the truth that you know, that may not be true completely. You have to go deeper into that. So when you go deeper and deeper, then you find out what is the root cause. So when you find out the root cause, then you go beyond. You find the solution right there. So wherever the problem originates, the solution is also concealed there. So you have to do your due diligence to go to the deepest aspect of your problem solving exercise, and then you find the true solution. I'll give you an example, which is a very classic example in yoga and Vedanta. We talk about that if you look at different ornaments, what is truth behind all the ornaments is gold. The gold is there in everything. So that the outside is ornament, the inside is gold. That means every ornament is made up of gold. But without that gold, the ornaments don't exist. So likewise, in everything that we see in this external world, in the objective world, behind everything there is a pure consciousness element. That means as a subject, as a pure consciousness you are, or pure awareness you are, your awareness and consciousness is getting projected to different objects. So the objects are not the same for everybody. Like say for example, if I take my smartphone and then show it to somebody in the deep Amazon forest in Africa, that person may not know what is this smartphone about. So for him or her, this object doesn't have the same meaning as it is for me and you, because we know the use of this one. So depending on the state of consciousness, depending on the state of mindset, depending on the knowledge that we have, every object will have a different definition. So the object is not an absolute concept, it is also a relative concept. Because the subject who is interacting with that object is also influencing the quality of that. This is all a deeper science, but what I mean to say is that there is always an essential stuff inside everything at a surface level. So if you have that practice of looking at the essential aspect of it, as I have talked about, the essence of life is beauty. The essence of education is knowledge. The essence of relationship is love. right? The intrinsic value. So when you try to find out the intrinsic value of people, of a job, and try to integrate them with your work, try to respect that, then you are doing the right karma yoga. That means your attitude is so pure, so clean, that you are not doing it for your own selfish motivation, but you are always looking at how it is going to help the world to be a better place. So if you can think about the bigger aspects of your life and try to align your work in dedication to that highest purpose in every work that you do, you'll not only get the highest quality of happiness, but also you'll get the highest quality of returns of investment. The ROI would be highest possible returns. It will be very good in nature. It will not have any impurities. It will not create health hazards for you. It will create more motivation, inspiration for you, not only today, for future also. And that is the beauty of karma yoga. So this is all a teaching concept, like I'm just giving small bits and knowledge here and there. I love to coach people. I'm a life coach in the Bay Area. So people who would like to learn a little bit more deeper and then try to see how this little thing fits into my life. What is the prescription that we can prescribe out of all the different oceans of knowledge? And that makes a big difference. So friends, we've been talking about different aspects of wellness, about this COVID-19 pandemic. So I hope you had something to learn from today's experience. Let's try to assimilate this knowledge that you've acquired through a little meditation for 2 minutes. So please join your hands together. Keep your eyes closed and then relax with 5 mindful breaths. Try to set your intention in your mind, like I'm totally healthy, I'm truly happy, and I'm building a stronger immune system. And try to say it 3 times in your mind and create a positive feeling in your heart. As we talked about 4 different paths of yoga, which helps us to merge into a higher self, the path of knowledge, the path of meditation that brings the focus of the mind, the path of devotion that sparks the love in our heart, and the path of action or the karma, which blends the whole concept into our work, which helps us to see the essential things or the essence into every object that we see. The subject and the objects merge one another and give us highest quality of job satisfaction, balance, harmony, calmness, peace, prosperity, affluence, love, happiness, joy. Everything that we need can be derived with having a positive mindset, a compassionate attitude, and you are present in the moment, not in the past, not in the future. So let's apply all these concepts that you have learned today and try to pray that all our leaders who are in the forefront of taking decisions for the safety and well-being of every citizen of this world in different nations, different countries, get this wisdom. They're not fighting a war for their ego, they're fighting for a greater cause for mankind. The history is being written right now, so let's pray that the right wisdom come to those leaders and they all become sensitive enough to see what is right and what is good for them and choose the right path, choose what is good for the mankind at this point of time. Coronavirus also is a reverse teacher. It's teaching us some great lessons by giving us some trouble right now. But if we learn the lessons, this fear will go away, this problem will go away. So it's a test for all humanity. To step back, look around, look within, and establish the right path for the humankind for another 100 years. or more. So with that, our technique of meditation, think about Prana Shakti as the power of the universe, the unconditional love of the Supreme Mother, or whatever that you connect to, the ultimate truth, the connection to the infinite intelligence that is present in your heart in the form of a radiant light. And as you breathe in and out, couple of breaths, and every in-breath you chant Prana Shakti in your mind 5 times, and every out-breath chant Prana Shakti 5 times. And if you do it for just 1 minute right now. Now visualize that your whole body is completely filled up with the white light, representing the pure knowledge, the pure wisdom, the pure love, and spreading it around with your willpower to all your loved ones and all the people in this planet, and seeing this white light merging with the sun, the light of the stars, the light of galaxies, the light of the universe and multiverses, and together creating a beautiful shield around this planet Earth to help us fight successfully with this global pandemic. Let's pray for all those people who have been a victim of this problem, who have departed from this world. Let's pray for their peace. Let's pray for all those people who are fighting with this problem right now in different places, at homes and hospitals. Let's pray for the courage, the strength they need to overcome this battle. And let's pray for the rest of us who have the right wisdom to do the right thing in the right way, to help one another, to help each other. Let's complete with a peace prayer. Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma amritam gamaya. Lead us from untruth to the truth. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death and disease to immortality. Oh, peace, peace,